Hello monsters and monster enthusiasts, I'm Monster J Art and welcome to my channel. So in today's video I wanted to share with you my top 5 tips in order to keep your white body paint really white, nice and clean when you're doing any type of makeup. Because white is a very tricky color to use, and if you're not careful it can easily look dirty or more gray than what you expected. So I wanted to share with you how I keep my white nice and clean when I'm doing makeup. Before we jump into the subject, just some quick reminder, you can give a like and subscribe to the channel for more art tutorial and art related videos. You can also follow me on Instagram to see pictures of my makeups and my drawings, and you can find the link in the description. So now that being said, let's talk about how to keep your white body paint nice and clean. So we're now in overview mode in order to do some demonstration of those tips to keep your white body paint nice and clean when you're doing your makeups. The first topic that I want to talk about is tracing. So basically tracing refers to the part where you're using generally an eyeliner or something like this to make all the line work of your makeup before filling between the line with different colors of body paint. Pretty much like you would fill a picture from a coloring book. So for my tracing, I love to use the Makeup Forever Artist Color pencils. Normally, I love to use the gray one because it's a very neutral color. It's also really good when my whole makeup is more in cool tones. While if my whole makeup is more in warmer tone, I prefer to use a brown one instead. The problem is the area that you want to fill will be filled with white body paint. The color of the eyeliner can actually transfer and mix in with the body paint, and then it will tint your white body paint. So to prevent that, instead, if there's an area that will be white, it's better to use a white eyeliner. It's especially true for me when I'm doing teeth, when I'm doing horns or things like that are in white. If I'm doing a whole skull, sometimes I will do most of it in white as well. So I will do a quick demonstration to show you the effect it can have. So I will draw two squares, one in gray with a line in the middle that I will go over with the white body paint, and then I will do one with white so that you could see the difference it can make. So I will start by filling the white square with the white body paint. As you could expect, there's pretty much nothing going on here. It's just pretty much filled. You can still see not really on camera, you can still see a little bit of the line in the middle, but for that you just sometimes need to add another layer. Generally with white it's good to add 2 or 3 layers in order to get full coverage. Now that it's done, I will go to do the gray square, and you will see pretty quickly, especially since I'm going over the line, it's not necessarily that much of a big difference, but you can see that this square look a little more gray than this one. Because even if it's a different medium, I mean the eyeliner is water resistant pretty much, and it's not water activated, it still transfers a little bit with the water activated paint. So this square, because I used gray eyeliner, look a little more grayish than this one where I only used on white eyeliner. So yeah, that's the first tip. In order to keep your white body paint nice and clean, do your tracing around the white areas with a white eyeliner. So the second tip that I want to share with you is about order of application. So basically when you're applying your water activated paint, you should go from the lightest color to the darkest color. It doesn't have to be absolute, but generally the rule of thumb is start with white and other light color, then go with other light color like light blue or yellow, things like that. Then go with color that are more gray and end up with really darker color like brown, violet, and the last color you should apply is black. So that's basically how I do it. Also, when you apply your makeup, it is better to use one brush per color, or at least doing all the areas that are one color first, then rinsing and doing a quick rinse of your brush before using another color. Or if you're working with two colors at the same time, use a brush for each of those colors. So basically what I will do is I will draw some squares and like having one in the middle brown and one on the outside brown, and filling the one in the middle with white. I don't know if I did them large enough. I'll do the second one a little bit bigger, but you will see the difference it can make with the order of application and using different brushes. So it doesn't have to be super precise, but you still see my idea. So I will color the center brown, then white, then brown. So I will first go with the right way of doing it. So I start with my white body paint and applying the white in the middle with a dedicated brush. Just to make sure, I will apply 2 layers. Also, normally when I'm doing my whole face, I have the body paint have the time to dry between each color, which will also help to prevent cross-contamination. So here I know that the middle, since I have more, it will be a little trickier, so it have more chances of getting contaminated. So I will do this part last. I will start with the outside square with the brown body paint. I mean, you still see, I still grabbed some white body paint, but since it mixed with brown, I mean, it doesn't impact brown that much. I mean, the white quickly fade away. And now I will do the one in the middle. Normally I should use a smaller brush, but you can see it's not that messy. I mean, I did it pretty quick. You see a little bit of white over the brown, but it's not that bad. So now I will try to do the exact opposite, and you will see that you will get a lot of brown, more brown in your white body paint. So I will start with the middle brown, then filling the outside one with brown as well. As I said, I used here white eyeliner so that I don't contaminate the white. I mean, nothing forbid you to do your whole tracing with white. It's just that sometimes when you're using darker color, it can be a little harder to see the white eyeliner. So that's why I still love to work with this gray as much as possible. But with white, I mean, you can do your whole face with white, with white eyeliner for your tracing if you want. So now I will use my white body paint in the middle, and you kind of see pretty quickly that on each side I'm grabbing some brown pretty quickly, and even if I try to remove a little bit of it, and I mean, you still see it's it's more messy. I mean, I can still go over with the brown to kind of try to at least correct where the white body paint went, but if I'm strictly looking at white, you can see that here my white look nice and sharp, while here I grabbed some brown, especially on the edges, and it looked way more messier than this one. So that's my tip number 2, order of application. Start with the lightest color, especially white, and then move from color darker and darker until you reach black. So here's my third tip, probably the most important one, the one that inspired the whole video, and it's what I call clean puck, dirty puck. Basically, when I have a puck of white makeup that is about to run out, I still keep it, and I will use it as my dirty puck. It's something that you don't necessarily have to do with other color. Basically, the goal here is to make sure that I have a puck of white makeup that don't get contaminated with pigments of another color. So basically, if I do a makeup with blue, I don't necessarily, pretty much with all other color other than white, I don't necessarily care as much as if there's some bits of pigment in the puck mixed in. I can always clean it midway, but generally it won't show as much. But with white, even the slightest bit of pigments of another color can mix up and end up doing a difference. It can make your white look way more duller or give some kind of weird undertones to it. So that's why I'm using 2 pucks of white body paint. So the clean puck is the puck that I will use only to apply the body paint directly on my bare skin or over white body paint, like to add another layer of white over a previous layer of white body paint. And I will use the dirty puck if I want to make a gradient into white, or if I want to add white on top of another color. Let's say I just want to add a pinch of highlight. So yet again here I will have a dedicated brush for my white puck, my clean puck of white body paint, and for this one I don't really care. Like if I'm making a gradient, I will use the same brush to go back and forth between these 2 pucks of body paint. So you may say that, well, it's a little bit overkill to do it this way, but I'm talking about it because all of these factors, all of these tips that I'm giving in the video, they all add up. Having that little pinch of eyeliner for your tracing, mixing it in your white, having these little pigments mixing in your white, at the end of, let's say, a 4-hour makeup, it does all add up and it does make a difference. So you want to prevent that instead of just realizing it when you're taking the picture 4 hours later. So now that being said, I will do a demonstration of the technique, making one using the clean puck dirty, making a gradient from blue with the clean puck dirty puck technique, and another one just using these 2. So I'll do the setup and I'll come back. So now here's the demonstration of the clean puck dirty puck technique. So I will start with the clean puck dirty puck, and then I will do the same thing only using these 2 pucks so that you can see the difference. So as I said in my previous tip, I will start with the lightest color, with white. Here I will do things a little wider and using biggest brush just to better show the difference it can make and the contamination of color that can happen. Obviously you have more chances of transferring pigments when you're using bigger brushes. So I applied my white, now I apply my blue here, and I will try not to overblend them too much so that the demonstration doesn't take like 10 minutes. So I'll go there, and here I will start to use my dirty puck. So I'll grab some white, I had it here, I put it toward the middle, then as you can see, I had still some white. It get mixed up in my blue puck, but it's really easy to just make it disappear by swirling it. Like the white will fade pretty quickly in the dark blue puck, and it will be true with most color, but the opposite is not true. Like white will not absorb the other colors, so I'll still take more pigment, bring it toward the middle, try to make things smooth. Sometimes you can also just try to remove some of the white. Now here I'm saying, yeah, I kind of lack of coverage a little bit, so you can just take white from your clean puck, apply it where you want your white to be as clean as possible, and then you take your dirty white brush and you can bring it toward the rest, toward the blue. So it's another way. You can use the white puck to apply white makeup, but don't using the same brush to blend it in. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's another part of the tip. And yeah, pretty much I'll just re-add some white here. Another layer, maybe. Still clean it because I fear that I may have cut some blue on my brush, and then just slightly blend the colors here. I mean, I'm trying to do it quickly. So yeah, as you can see, I get a nice gradient from white to blue. Now I'll redo the same process, but without using my dirty puck. And I will make it a little more dramatic so that you can see the effect and what I'm talking about. So I will start yet again with my base color of white. I don't add too much water because I still want to have a thicker consistency on my base layer. Then I'll use blue. Start blending that with the white, bring it toward the middle. Then I'll pick some white, bring it toward the middle. Oh, I need more white. So obviously I could clean my brush each time, but I just want to make the demonstration and you will see how much blue will get in my white puck of body paint. So now I like this. I will re-add some blue. So So yeah, we'll end it up like this. So here you can see, I mean, it's still white, but here you do get more blue undertone because guess what? There's blue body paint in my puck of white makeup. So now it's harder to get a pure white. And if I just try, if here I still have white, but I can just swirl my brush around and the white basically just disappear. If I'm trying to do this here, I mean, my white, I mean, it doesn't show as much on camera, but it does look a little bit duller. It's because there's now a layer of blue body paint on top. So how do you clean that? So even if you do get some contamination, you can always clean it during your makeup. What you do is you take a paper towel, here I just cut them, you just put it on the top of your finger, dip it in water. I will just do half here to show you the difference. So I remove it, I use the wet paper towel and then I move to a part that is dry on top of my finger and then I go over the same area to remove the body paint. And now here you can see clearly the difference. This side look way more gray than this side that is now pure white. So that's the kind of difference that it can make. So obviously now I will just do the same thing with both sides. But yeah, that's the kind of thing, the kind of tiny difference it can make. But as I said, over a 4-hour makeup, this technique will make a difference. It will really help to keep your white as pure as possible. So this was my demonstration of the clean puck, dirty puck. So yeah, just keep one puck of white makeup that you try to keep as clean and as pure as possible, only using to apply white body paint and then using another one that you use when you mix it with other colors or on top of other colors. So another thing to consider if you want to keep your white body paint nice and clean is the type of setting powder that you use. Normally when you're doing a beauty makeup, you want to pick a setting powder that kind of matches your skin tone and it will help to blend things together. But when you're doing cosplay makeup or when you're just applying body paint, you still want to set your makeup. You want to prevent keep it from transferring, but you don't want to add any undertone to it. You want to have it as transparent as possible. So you don't want to add an undertone to your white makeup. So here's two examples of setting powder that I love to use, more for beauty makeups or things like that. So when I'm concealing my eyebrows, I love to use the Rimmel Stay Mate, but as you can see, it does have a slight pink undertone to it. It doesn't show as much on camera, but it does have a slight pink undertone to it. Or another one that I use over foundation especially is the Laura Mercier setting powder. So as you can see, it does have a slight yellow or beige undertone to it. So instead of using those kind of setting powder over white body paint, I love to use white eyeshadows. So for that, you want a white eyeshadow that is more powdery. You don't want to use a cream white eyeshadow because you cannot use it as a setting powder. So obviously you want something that is more powdery. Two of the products that I use the most, the first one is the MAC eyeshadow in shade Gesso. I like it because it is powdery, but it's also very pigmented. So it will also help sometimes to correct some mistake, like if you have some, let's say, fallout of gray eyeshadow that fell on your white body paint. Because it is really pigmented, it can help to correct it on the way. It's also good sometimes just to use to do some kind of matte highlight over another color of body paint. But I really love to use it when I need something that is matte and covering, like really pigmented. Another one that I love to use is the Wet n Wild eyeshadow in shade Sugar. As you can see here, I barely hit pan on it. I know there's almost no product left in the pan, but honestly, this eyeshadow, first of all, it's really inexpensive. It's like $2 or $3. But to be fair, it's kind of not a very good eyeshadow in the sense that it's really powdery, kind of sheer. It doesn't have a lot of coverage, but it makes it a very good setting powder for white body paint. Why I like it so much, it's because it's slightly reflective, so it will, when you take picture, it will grab the light from the flash and help to reflect it, so it may help to make your white body paint look even more white in a certain way. Be careful with that, because you don't want to get something that is too reflective. And here's one example, here's some white highlighter. I know it's old and expired, it's from Becca, like the company closed like 2 years ago. But as you can see here, you cannot distinguish the white highlighter from the mirror. So if you use something that is too reflective as a setting powder over white body paint, it just, first of all, it will remove any shading that you did, so everything just will look white and overblown. And sometimes you kind of see it a little bit on camera, but it will kind of create a white halo around things. So it may hinder the other colors as well. So you can use it on white body paint. Use it if you want to add some highlight. Use it as a highlighter, but don't use white highlighter or a really reflective white eyeshadow as a setting powder. So yeah. Here I know I haven't made any demonstration because I already filmed this part like 4 or 5 times, and whatever I do, it never really shows on camera. I tried many times to just apply white body paint and use these 4 products as a setting powder on it, but it doesn't really show. As I said, it will really show if you're editing your picture, if you're playing with contrast and saturation. That's where it really matters. So yeah, this was another thing to consider in order to keep your white makeup nice and clean. So, the last tip that I wanted to talk about, I know it's more situational, but I still wanted to talk about it nonetheless, it's when you're concealing your eyebrows. Because the product that you use can have an impact. Normally, whenever I do a cosplay makeup, I always conceal my eyebrows using the glue stick method. Basically, I use the purple Elmer glue to conceal my eyebrows, then I apply setting powder on top of the glue, then I apply concealer on top and set it again with setting powder. It's also a technique that is really commonly used for drag makeup, and if you don't really know about it, you can look in my videos. I made a tutorial on the glue stick technique to conceal your eyebrows. The thing is, for most cosplay makeup, any type of color that I use over my concealed eyebrows, it doesn't really matter. I can use a concealer and a setting powder that match my skin tone, and it won't really show through. But if I'm doing something that is white, something like a skull, and I apply white body paint over my concealed eyebrow, then it does matter. So instead, I use a white concealer and a white eyeshadow as a setting powder. So white concealer can be quite tricky to find. The only one that I found easily was the Cover FX Power Play Concealer in shade white. As you can see, it's really white and thick. So you can use that. If you cannot find any white concealer, you can use some heavy white cream makeup, something that is really thick that could act as a concealer. Then I set it up using the MAC eyeshadow in shade Gesso. Sometimes I also use the eyeshadow, the Wet n Wild eyeshadow in shade Sugar. Basically, you want to set it with a white powder. So then, when you will apply white body paint over these products, you will not get any type of undertone. So I will do a quick demonstration on the back of my hand just so that you can. So here's the result of my demonstration. I had to add some lighting in order to be able to show you the difference. So basically here I made a line of this concealer and this setting powder, both closer to my natural skin tone. And here I made a line of this concealer and using that eyeshadow as a setting powder. Here I just went back and forth with white body paint. You don't really see that much of a difference. You do see a slight pinkish undertone here, but it's not necessarily that bad. But here basically what I did is I applied white body paint, went back and forth, did some layers, and here you see it's pretty much still white, but here you do see more that pink or orange undertone, because basically as you go with more water you can reactivate the concealer, it can mix back with your body paint, and also if you conceal your eyebrows sometimes it can also reactivate the glue, make it more liquid, and then you will have some of your eyebrows hairs that will sometimes pop up. But yeah, you always have to be careful when you apply body paint over your concealed eyebrow. But here you can see that yes, you do get more of a pink undertone to your white. So yeah, this is the difference that the concealer that you use to conceal your eyebrows can make if you apply white body paint on top of it afterwards. And this was my top 5 tips and tricks on how to use white body paint and keep it nice and clean when you're doing any type of makeup or body paint. Do you encounter any other type of issues with white body paint, or do you have any other question about cosplay makeup or body painting in general? If so, you can leave it in the comments down below. Other than that, I hope you really enjoyed the video. If so, please feel free to give a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye!